Bow! What's up, everybody? Once again, it's Breadman Sean, and today we got to talk about how Travis Scott has dominated the stage, created his own personal movement, and how other artists can do the same. Now, before I continue forward, I gotta say that this video was inspired by an article I read a long time ago called How Travis Scott Mastered Selling a Live Experience from DJ Booth, written by Yo. As a matter of fact, the perfect quote to pull from the article is one by Mike Dean. Scott's rise in popularity has been fostered through intense relationship building with a crazed fan base over a series of years, the direct result of one-of-a-kind live shows and well-received singles. What makes Travis Scott so special is he's not necessarily pushing a lifestyle like a lot of rappers or people in this culture are doing. He's really creating a world for you to step into. He's a lot less Diddy and a lot more Disneyland. But it doesn't just start at his shows. Travis starts by setting the mood and starting to curate that world through all of his branding, whether it's the sound in his music, the ambient, melodic, environmental, mood-setting music that he has, or just the imagery that he provides when it comes to his album covers, and even the names, that Rodeo, Days Before Rodeo, Birds in the Trap Scene, McKnight. He's constantly setting a tone for a kind of dark, rebellious, high-energy world that he wants you to get into, so by the time you make it to the show, it's like everything you've been hearing come to life. He goes extremely deep with his set design, making sure people have unique experiences. Obviously, he had the bird for the Birds in the Trap project, and that became a thing within itself. This level of attention to detail throughout his branding and his shows, which is also a part of his brand, really set the stage for him to start his own personal movement. But before I get into that, I want you to watch this video by a guy named Derek Sivers that perfectly paints a visual of what happens when you're starting a movement.
So let's watch a movement happen start to finish in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course, you know, a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd, and a crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement. So notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. So over the next minute, you'll see all of the those that prefer to stick with the crowd, because eventually they would be ridiculed for not joining in. And that's how you make a movement. But let's recap some lessons from this. So first, if you are the type, like the shirtless dancing guy, that is standing alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals. So it's clearly about the movement, not you. Okay, but we might have missed the real lesson here. The biggest lesson, if you noticed, did you catch it? Is that leadership is over-glorified. That yes, it was the shirtless guy was first, and he'll get all the credit, but it was really the first follower that transformed the lone nut into a leader. So as we're told that we should all be leaders, that would be really ineffective. If you really care about starting a movement, have the courage to follow and show others how to follow. And when you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first one to stand up and join in.
See, Travis Scott's shows are his movement. They're the core of everything he does. They're the heartbeat of who he is as an artist, because everything that he represents comes together through his live experience. And Derek Sivers made some important points in that clip. One of them being the fact that your first followers are just as important as you are, maybe even more so, because they're taking you from being some random artist to someone who actually has fans, that has support. And once you have more followers, you have to be a guardian of not only the followers, but the culture. Travis Scott shows that at his shows. Travis Scott is giving out rings, dad caps, and a whole bunch of other random items at his concerts, but it's not all just out of the goodness of his heart. This is after people have recited his verses word for word. These are rewards. He's reinforcing the loyalty that his fan base shows. He's giving these rewards for their commitment as a fan. This is what Mike Dean meant when he said Travis Scott has been going through intense relationship building with his fans. But not only will he reward fans for great behavior, he will punish you for violating the culture.
I'm gonna smack the fuck out of you, nigga. Don't ever take a fucking motherfucking mic out of my fucking fans' head, man. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. Hold on. Don't ever touch my fans like that. You're not gonna do.
He's telling off the security guard, letting them know you can't just treat my fans any old kind of way. But it's not just for security and people interrupting his fans. He will talk to his fans and friends the exact same way, particularly when it comes to his show.
All you niggas that's with me, that's behind the gate, that's on your phones, y'all niggas can take your ass home, or y'all can go back there and watch the show, bro. You don't get no VIP motherfucking show texting on your phone like this shit right, so motherfucking ass out of here.
For Travis Scott, you need to be present when you're at his show, not just doing little Snapchat videos, IG videos, pictures. You gotta be actually enjoying the experience, because if you're not one of those people who are enjoying the experience, then you're somebody who's taken away from the energy because you're on your phone, and he has a very high energy show. Now it may seem small, but you have to guard the culture, because not only do you not want to perform in front of the wrong type of people, but if you have the wrong type of people there and they are allowed to ruin the experience for other ones, then you're weakening the impact that your show has. And when that happens, it ultimately results in a lower quality show. Have you ever been watching like an award show and an artist has been performing, or you've been watching like a comedian perform on TV and you see the crowd not really reacting, but you think the person's funny? It just kills the entire energy when you have a bad crowd. There are bad performances, but there's also bad crowds. And when you integrate the bad crowd into the good crowd, it still becomes a lower quality show. Guard the culture. So when you think about that quote at the beginning when Mike Dean said Travis did some intense fan building and it really had a lot to do with his live shows, you have to consider that Starting a Movement video by Derek Sivers. Because if you understand the marketing experience funnel, you know that when people find out about the show and they actually love the show, then they're going to spread that word to let other people know, man, you missed out. You got to check this out. That becomes a form of PR marketing in itself. And then when you see clips of it online, that becomes another form of PR marketing itself to people who didn't make it to the show. And when they explain the experience, the show becomes even better the next time around, because there's an expectation of the type of energy you need to bring if you come to his show. People know that coming to Travis Scott's show is completely different than coming to Young Thug's show. It's completely different than coming to Beyonce's show, Jay-Z. You get the point. And that's why having a great live show is a really important facet of being an artist, because you can have great music, people can love everything about you, but then they come to your show, and if that product is trash, there will be no snowball effect of your show getting bigger and bigger if people are going to the show and saying it's bad. It's just like a movie that everybody goes to on opening weekend, but they tell everybody else, oh, save your money, it's not worth it. And you don't have to be a big artist with a really big budget to have a dope show. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go over that in the next video in this series. And as soon as I drop it, I'll add a link to it in the top comment and the description below. But other than that, if you like this video, go ahead, hit that like button. If you like it, you might as well share it. And if you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button.